this video, let us understand the structure of a command. Back there, I had used a command called as ls, and we also had seen the result it had produced, which was a list of files and directories within the current directory. Later, I also added an option -l to see a different result. This essentially modified the behavior of the command by telling it to perform a different action. Sometimes, we can also add certain arguments to the commands, like here, I'm looking to list files and directories on the desktop rather than in my current working directory. But it does seem odd that I have such a huge name as an argument. /home/john/desktop. Well, why is it so long? These discussions for a later stage. Coming back to the command structures, the general pattern is command, options, and arguments. Or it can also be command, arguments, and options. For example, this is a valid command here. You probably are thinking that the find command may be used for finding or searching for something particular within the Linux system. Yes, you would have guessed it right. But let's not worry about what the command does. We will explore these commands in depth later. Right now, we are more focused on understanding how the general pattern of these commands are. So, we can have just a command, or a command with options, or a command with arguments, or a command with both options and arguments. A command can also have multiple options. Like here, -a option stands for all, which ensures even the hidden files and directories are displayed. The sequence of this option is irrelevant. That means we can have -a written ahead of -l too. We actually can combine both the options too, and it would still be grammatically correct. Sometimes we also have multiple commands in a single line. Here, ps and grep are two commands with their own options and arguments. They have been stitched together with the pipe that you see in the center. That makes it a real long command. But you already know what I'm going to say now. Let us not worry about these complex commands yet. We will learn about ps and grep and pipes and how to combine them, etc. eventually in our course. But what we know for now is that we can have just a command, or a command with one or more options, or just a command with one or more arguments, or a command with many options and arguments, or even multiple commands. But there always will be a command. That's the fundamental unit we are working with. And now you know why a shell is also called as a command line interpreter. Most commands you've seen are actually quite short. It is a combination of options and arguments which make them look longer. This is a long followed convention to have shorter commands. Instead of having a command like list for displaying files and directories, we just have ls. To find all processes that are currently active, well, they could have created a command like show processes or list processes. Instead, the command has been made short and sweet, ps, just ps. Another example, if we want the system to tell us the current directory that we are working on, instead of having a command like show current directory or print working directory, the command has been abbreviated to pwd. Though it may seem that it is difficult to remember these abbreviated or shortened forms of commands, the more you work with Linux, the more you will start appreciating that how easy it is to type in shorter commands rather than bulkier ones. So, these commands essentially are like a code or an executable which result in some action. The example that we had seen in the previous video, ls-l, had shown us some output on the screen. It did not make any changes in the system. It only fetched some information and showed it on my screen for my viewing. On the other hand, some commands do not show any output on the terminal at all, but certainly perform some action. Like, I may use a command and make a file read-only so that no one accidentally edits it. Or I may create a new directory for all our practice exercises and so on. In our journey with Linux, we are going to come across a wide variety of commands. So why don't we get our hands dirty with some very basic commands?